Nerdy is defined as someone characterized by an obsessive interest in something. Xbox, Marvel, technology, D&D, Lord of the Rings, escape rooms, Pokemon, Funko Pop, Star Wars, PlayStation, comic books, Magic the Gathering, Nintendo, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers. All of that is Tech D-Rob, host of the Nerd News Podcast, your source for everything nerdy.
I realize you guys are all nerds.
And this is the Nerd News Podcast.
Welcome to the Nerd News Podcast. Let me bring the microphone a little bit closer. Welcome to the Nerd News Podcast on the Ace and TJ podcast radio show network. I don't know 100%. It's on the Ace and TJ TV, Ace TJ TV YouTube page. Wherever you get your podcasts, it'd be under the Ace and TJ Show podcast, all that kind of good stuff. But we're doing a very abbreviated edition of the Nerd News Podcast. I feel like I said that a lot, and I end up rambling, but I literally have 3 things to talk about. And 2 of them are just to tell you when something is out, available to be streamed. So that's coming up on the Nerd News Podcast. But let's get to the quick hits first. So on video games, today we have Fort Solis on PS5, PC, and Mac. Immortals of Avium on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Smurfs Kart for current and next-gen Xbox and PlayStation. WrestleQuest on current and next-gen Xbox and PlayStation, along with Switch and PC. Blasphemous 2 on next-gen consoles and Switch and PC. Unpacking is available on iOS and Android. And then Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon on current and next-gen Xbox and PlayStation, along with PC. DVD-wise, this week we have The Blackening. I just realized that I am out next week, so let me get you some video game releases for then as well. But The Blackening is out on DVD today, and in theaters this weekend is Gran Turismo, which is a strange one, to be honest. It basically, the premise of the movie is that it's somebody who plays what's the name of the game? I just said it. Gran Turismo. And it's a true story, apparently. And he is scouted because of his Gran Turismo abilities, and he becomes a good racer. I don't know. But yeah, that's really all that's going on this weekend. I don't know that Blue Beetle will catch up or make any more money this weekend. I know it won't do better than it did last week, and it did not do great, despite being the number 1 movie in America. But yeah, so next week, however, in the video game world, on September 5th, we have Chants of Sinar on last-gen Xbox and PlayStation, along with Switch and PC. Rune Factory 3 Special on September 5th as well for the Switch. And September 6th, the main attraction of the week, Baldur's Gate 3 makes its way to PlayStation 5. And you can play early if you get the Digital Deluxe Edition, which I recommend to play early because the game is fantastic, and that's one of the 3 things I have to talk about today on the Nerd News Podcast. But let's continue. Starfield also makes its way to Xbox Series X and S and PC on that exact same day. I don't care anymore. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis makes its way to iOS and Android. Rugby 24 is on current and next-gen PlayStation, Xbox, PC. And Fae Farm on September 8th for Switch and PC. And then the next iteration of the NBA 2K series, NBA 2K24, current and next-gen PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. I feel like most people aren't playing an NBA game on a PC. That's a console game, if I've ever heard one. In theaters next weekend, we have The Equalizer 3. I still need to watch the second one. On DVD next week, we have The Flash, No Hard Feelings, and the final season of The Flash TV show. And on digital release next week, we have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, The Boogeyman, and The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Now, you may be saying, The Last Voyage of the Demeter came out like 2 weeks ago. That's correct. It didn't do well. So they're already trying to push the hype into a digital release. Be that as it may, it's not going to help. Anyway, that's the quick hits for the Nerd News. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know why I'm trashing it. I've heard non-good things. But anyway, when we return to the Nerd News Podcast, an abbreviated edition, like I've said, but I will talk to you about Baldur's Gate 3. I will talk to you about The Flash. And I will talk to you about Ahsoka. So that's all coming up next.
At Tech TechD_Rob on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. More Nerd News Podcast next. Follow TechD_Rob on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at TechD_Rob. This is the Nerd News Podcast.
Welcome back to the Nerd News Podcast. I furrowed my brow for you if you're watching on YouTube. And now I'm making my dimples pop out. All right. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing. I've had a lot of sugar today. I had I'm staying after the normal hours of the Ace and TJ show to prepare for vacation next week. Like, we're out. And it usually just means that the week before is Hell Week for me. So it's currently almost 2 p.m, and I'm not done yet for the day. So it's gonna be a long one for your boy Tech D Rob. So I don't know. Take what you will from that. So the two things that are very brief. I mentioned The Flash is coming to digital on 8/29. However, right before that, 8/25, you can watch it on Max. I don't know what I was about to say, but it wasn't the word Max. But you can watch it on Max, formerly HBO Max, now just called Max. August 25th, the movie The Flash. It's okay. It's not great. It's not bad. I mean, it's kind of bad. Mostly bad. Yeah. And Ahsoka, the first episode is out tonight, and maybe the first two. Typically, Disney kind of does like a double episode premiere, so we'll see. I don't know. But that is out tonight. Now, you may be thinking, usually these releases come on a Wednesday. That is correct. Now, Disney has rolled it back, and Tuesday evening is when they'll release these things now. So we'll see if that helps their dwindling numbers on Disney Plus, mainly due to lack of quality content. I don't want to pinpoint anything in particular, but Disney's on the decline as far as quality is concerned. Now, I know some people are boycotting Disney and all that kind of stuff. I don't do boycotts. It's just not my thing. I mean, nobody's going to have a particular opinion that's going to offend me too terribly much and make me not want to watch something that I just enjoy. If I enjoy it, I'm going to separate it from whatever. I'll separate anything. Now, if it's like, I guess I wouldn't watch a murderer's television show. Don't quote me on that. I don't know where I was going with that, but typically I can separate the art from the artist, is the basic phrase. Anyway, those are the two minor things. The major thing I want to talk about is my addiction to Baldur's Gate 3. To frame it up for you, when did I purchase Baldur's Gate 3? Baldur's Gate? I know I have there it is. On August 6th. What day was that? No, I think that was my original purchase of it. I don't remember. I know one time, I guess I could search Steam. I bought it to begin with and tried to play it on my my Mac. And it did not work well at all. Like, at all. Okay, so that was in July that I made the original purchase. So August 6th was the first day that I played this game. Let's check the calendar. That is a Sunday, I believe. Okay, so it was 2 weeks ago from the most recent Sunday. So I've played it for 2 full weeks leading up to this, and I currently have 58 hours into it. Now, a good many of those hours were recent. Let's say Thursday I played a good bit. Friday I didn't get to play very much. Saturday I played a lot. Sunday I played a lot. So 58 hours, almost 59 hours, and I'm just into Act 2. And I feel like I'm not even halfway through Act 2. And Act 2 seems to be shorter than Act 1. Now, I've heard Act 3 is humongous. Act 1's pretty large. So, it's just... Excuse me. I'm going to have a sugar crash, probably. The game is huge. That's the gist of that. Now, I do want to highlight a couple things. I've been playing as a rogue halfling, which is a little Frodo-type character, a little Sam, a little Pippin and Merry, whichever one, but it's a rogue. So he's like sneaking around, and they all sneak around pretty well. So I would say that it's similar to that. And a friend of mine equated the acts of this game to like Lord of the Rings. So Act 1 seems to be pretty tame overall. Kind of like the beginning of it, the Fellowship of the Ring is they're in the Shire. They get to a little bit of scarier place, but then now the Two Towers, the second movie in the film, things really start amping up. And Act 2 is just that. You're in a dark forest. I'm not going to give too much information away. I don't want to spoil anything, and there is a mechanic in the game that if you stray too far from a light, it shoves you into turn-based mode because your character's about to be infected. And it makes it very difficult to traverse this land. You have to go really slow, which I'm not a fan of that much. But I'm really hoping to get that sorted soon so I don't have to do that anymore. I'm so sorry. Pardon my yawns. I may cut those out. We'll see. But it's huge. The game itself's huge. I think the phrase I would use about its comparison to regular D&D is they had to reflavor it a good bit. Feats are given to you more often. And you can instead use those to change your stats on a character, all that good stuff. And I don't know. The game is just so much fun to play. I've rarely ever enjoyed a game this much. But this might be my favorite game of all time. I know I said the best game of all time I've ever played was probably The Last Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. But this might be the best game I've ever played. Widely regarded as one of the best games ever made. I don't foresee me playing Starfield very much at all because it's coming out way too close to this game. I could play this game a lot, over and over, because there's so many different ways to go at it. You know, there's multiple different classes. There's multiple different subclasses of each class. I don't know, man. It seems like it's going to be real fun, and I can't wait to continue. And it's next week's vacation. That's pretty much all I'm going to do. I might play some actual real D&D. We'll see about all that. I don't know that for certain, but regular D&D. It's fun, but this is also just incredibly fun. So, another thing I wanted to say, there's a character type in the game. If you're picking it up for the first time, I would recommend you don't do the Dark Urge playthrough the first time you play. Now, you may be going, what the hell does that mean? Dark Urge is a character type in the game. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But if you choose Dark Urge, some of the decisions aren't made by you. The dark part of you will make decisions for you. For example, to be as least spoilerish as possible, there is the possibility that when you get to a large grouping of people near the beginning of the game, behind a gate of sorts, you'll know what I'm saying when you play it. A friend of mine played the game and he killed everyone there by doing one thing, and he had no control over it. It was wild. So the game has so many different diverging paths. It has so many different endings. I can only assume it's insane how much thought and passion was put into this game. It's the best game I've ever played. My favorite game of all time. And I don't say that lightly. I don't foresee a time that I won't at least pick this up once a year or so. It made me hook. I mean, and before I even played it, I knew I would love it. And I love it. I knew I'd love it so much that I rehooked up a PC that I haven't used in years just to see if I could play it. It's awesome. It's what I'd rather be doing right now than, Hell Week for the Ace and TJ show to go to vacation. But I'm an adult with responsibilities, so I guess I'll just play it here and there until next week when I can really immerse myself again, re-immerse myself. But anyway, that's the Nerd News Podcast for this week. I appreciate you sticking with me to hear me ramble on and sing the praises of this game again. And I can tell you in 2 weeks, I'll probably be singing more praises about the game. It's that good. If you have a PC that can handle it, or if you have a PlayStation and you think you might be interested in D&D stuff, this is for you. It's awesome. Incredibly fun. And again, coming to the PlayStation 5, September 6th, Baldur's Gate 3. Front runner for Game of the Year for me. When did God of War come out? Okay, that was November of last year. I don't know what won Game of the Year 2022. I think God of War may have. Now, a lot of people were thinking it was going to be between Starfield and Tears of the Kingdom. It won't be for me. There's no way. Maybe I'll be eating my words, or maybe I put my foot in my mouth is the phrase I was looking for. We'll find out. But not soon, because I'm not playing Starfield as soon as it comes out. I'm going to play more Baldur's Gate until I can finish it. At least one playthrough. So that's the Nerd News Podcast for this week. Thank you for sticking around through the ramblings. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Kick, Threads, all those different websites that people have. Follow me on all of them. TechD_Rob, or just TechD_Rob on some of them. I don't know. There's too many to keep track of. But just follow me, okay? Please. That's the Nerd News Podcast. I'll see you next week.
That's it for this week's Nerd News Podcast. Follow TechD_Rob on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at TechD_Rob. Subscribe now. More nerd news next week.